Content warnings for this stream include unreality, dissociation, minor eye strain, colorism, sexism, misogyny, references to alcohol, references to colonization, disembodied body parts, sizeism, gender dysphoria, objectification, identity loss, emotional trauma, flirting, sex, homophobia, birds, body horror, voyeurism, body dysmorphia, doppelgängers, gaslighting, physical violence, blood, prisons, physical abuse, death, minor gore, dolls, and puppets.
As you shatter the glass with the intention, the desire to silence, it's not as if the reflection screams or needs to. This was some distorted, strange demon, some strange visual effect. But you notice something as all of the glass shatters and falls before you. And it is a mouth that falls on the ground. Lips. As if somehow someone's mouth was perfectly able to pop off and just be scattered on the floor.
I think the witch reaches down, picks up the mouth, this disembodied almost like piece of a face. Is it like flesh or
It's flesh.
Like, it's flesh? Okay. Our abilities have never done this before.
Chichi, you've done the only thing you could. You fought back. We were being lied to. Look at our skin. Soft, still scented of sandalwood from our wedding. Look at our hair. That hair that you care so deeply for. You're right. You're right to push back. You should push back. Do not falter now. And I would like to activate my face move again. And I will take the pain of the cut and the ripped out hair to up my trauma to 2, and you can take both of those traumas away.
Are you holding it, or how do you sort of have this mouth?
I think she's very gently picked it up
Okay.
on the edges, and then I don't think she'd place it into her hand. I think she just like when you're holding something you do not want to be holding, you just grab it with as little of your fingers as you can. I think that is how she is holding it.
The lips, just the lips, begins to grow around your fingers. The top of the lips, the skin before the nose, begins to grow. A tongue and teeth beginning to manifest as if you were just now pinching ripped off skin at this point. And the teeth, as a chin and the tongue, begin to grow in your hand. It's getting heavier.
The witch is dropping it.
Okay.
Just absolutely dropping it.
Are we not enough? Is that the version of us that's better?
Honestly, Dee Dee, I know you are very upset right now about whatever this means for our husband, but a tongue just came out of a disembodied mouth, and I'd love to stay on topic here, possibly.
We worked very hard. We worked very, very hard.
I know. I know.
And I would like to take stock of a tense situation and ask, what horror here is hidden from GUDIYA? Indicating not only the mirrors that change our appearance and our clothing, but also this newly formed head that is on the ground.
The forming head, the lips starting to take shape, is beginning to also mimic your lips, Fatale, your nose, grandfather, and hair as it begins to sprout. Not all at once as soon as the full skull is created. It is being created almost at the same time, beginning to mimic your texture, the texture of your hair. Fatale, what is being hidden is that if you do not leave now, it'll fully animate. But what it will do, you aren't sure.
Will it make us better?
It will want whatever you want. Whatever you want will want to replace you.
We can't be replaced. We've worked too hard. We've worked too hard for this. We can't. Chichi, we need to leave.
I would like to, hearing this, seeing this, learning this, propose a truth about this room.
Certainly.
I believe that this room was not an original part of the house. Like, this was not something that Bluebeard had before he met any of the women who he has met. This is a room that he created and installed specifically because one of his brides was too passionate, too unbridled. And this room was created and built in a way that it caused the sort of whispers of doubt. It was built in a way to cause those whispers that society gives you of judgment, of you need to change this, you should change that, this is how you should look, this is what you should look like. And in doing so, replacing her, not her personality, but bit by bit by bit, until she was perfect for him.
Is this a token of faithfulness or disloyalty?
She sees the mouth and the head growing and reaches out and grabs that shard of mirror that's still stained with a little bit of her blood and places it very gently into a bag, I guess, that she has.
Yeah.
And leaves knowing that she does not feel the loyalty and the love towards her husband that she should.
Please mark one trauma as you realize or decide your husband's disloyalty. But what does that trauma feel like to you, witch?
The witch was very adamant in this room. She loves herself. She is not insecure. She loves herself. And I think that this room had the effect that it desired. The witch leaves a little ashamed of their hair, of their posture, of the way they hold themselves. And that sort of wriggles within to their mind.
Witch, with bloody mirror shard in hand, or in the bag rather, where do you like to go next? What key grabs your attention?
The witch looks through this ring of keys and finds one which is almost charcoal black. It's strange and interesting because it looks like part of a body. The handle itself is a rib cage, and the shaft of the key looks like arm bones, with the teeth looking almost like the phalanges of a hand reaching out into pointed fingernails as she picks it.
Chichi, are you sure this doesn't...
I don't trust him. I don't know what this house is, but this key, this horrific nightmare should give us some sort of insight to the darker natures.
I pray that we get the honesty you're searching for, and not just another horror hidden behind mirrors and smoke.
We have to know.
Which, do you ask instructions to help you find this room? Or do you just wander?
Normally, the witch would wander and go find it themselves. I think in this moment, knowing that their hand is bloodied and that they are already hurt, they're going to ask.
One of the servants looks up at you once again, an almost identical blonde maid. Are you sure?
Absolutely, I'm sure.
Would you need someone to attend to you or to walk with you?
No. I am okay, thank you, although.
Okay. And she directs you to a basement floor. And you are met with a metal door with a golden plaque. Dungeon.
I take this strange key and approach this dungeon and look to my sisters and say, if there are any secrets hidden, this is a place to hide them.
Why does he have one of these?
Why does he have anything?
Well, he is a lord, so perhaps there are criminals here.
But even lords don't keep prisoners in their own homes. There's prisons for that.
Perhaps the land he comes from has different traditions.
Traditions of taking people.
Didi, you almost seem like you don't want to be here anymore.
No. This is our station now, right? No. We can... Lady Bluebeard. That's us. We can go in.
All right. And I place the key in the door, turn it, and I think as Didi has done previously, I am going to hand the ring to Grandfather.
Nana walks through the door. What do I see?
You see now what seems to be an almost unending corridor, an aisle of cells, prison cells. It is humid, and there's an off sort of dripping of water from some sort of faucet. The smell here is less to be desired.
I take a deep breath of the stench of this place. And with a strength that rarely ever came from the true man, and even less so from this sister, the straightened back, the reaching hand, GUDIYA grabs the bloodied mirror shard, turns to her back, and rips the bodice of her dress, letting it fall to the floor until she is only wearing her shift. Putting the bag back on her, tucking the shard in, but keeping a close hand upon it. If we are to do this right, we should be free enough to move.
There are no bodies or people in these cells, no sleeping prisoners of any of the sort. But you do hear a snoring sound from what seems to be some man, a guard perhaps, sitting in front of one of the cells. Snoring, sleeping.
Do we walk? Or do we wake?
The fatale from inside Gudiya's mind is If they had hands, they would wring them. They would be moving anxiously back and forth along her palm. And as they look out through Nana's eyes at this cell, I would like to investigate a mysterious object targeting the cells in general. And I would like to ask, what memories does this item hold?
The first memory, as if a small wind of dust in the corner just begins to whirl and scoop and twist past your eyes. It leads you to this memory, a flashback of 2 guards, gruffly, seemingly in a mask or maybe even faceless, grabbing a woman on both either side of her arms as she struggles, slamming her, throwing her on the ground into one of the prison cells, and the woman with disheveled hair, what seems to be a dress, blue, roughly, her hair curled and down. He loves me. I promise to you, he knows who I am. He loves me. The guards don't answer. They slam the door. All she has are her clothes and her shoes. And the dust settles back onto the ground.
Why did Bluebeard keep this item?
The basement is far away and fairly soundproof. If there is any place to hide anything, it is where it is not so easily seen or heard.
Don't wake the guard, Nana.
Why?
If we step out of line, if we don't play the role that we are meant to play, this is our fate. The guard is not a friend.
There are no friends here. None at all. And an automatic softness appears on the face of GUDIYA as the wise and tender eyes of the grandfather that inspired this piece return. And gently she places a hand, a well-worn calloused hand, onto the guard's face, similar to the peacock before. I would like to caress this horror.
Okay.
What is happening today? It's 3?
Okay. Please mark a trauma for me, grandfather, as just before you caress, the guard almost wakes immediately and grabs your hand before you can touch him. Who are you?
I am the Lady Bluebeard.
I feel like I would know the Lady Bluebeard. Certainly doesn't look like you.
I'm more than what you see. And using GUDIYA's hands, they grasp the glass shard in the bag, and through the bag stab this guard. And I'm going to dirty myself with violence.
Go right ahead.
That's a little more like it. That is an 8.
Okay. What would you like to do to this guard? What is the intention of stabbing him?
With unnatural strength, the form of GUDIYA, they reach in and start lashing their way up the guard's body, mutilating them. And as I grip tighter and tighter, I understand that the strength I possess may put the thing I care about most, the people around me, my sisters, myself, in more danger than ever before. And I will take a trauma.
Sacrificing your own hand's ability at this point, you do not leave carelessness. Well, you are able to make sure that you, the rest of your facets, the rest of your mind, to not be left in a bad spot, but instead you continue to shoulder the pain of the body. Grandfather, you are for trauma. Fatale, in which do you react as this is happening?
I think there's a scream at first from the witch of horror in the fact that this level of violence has never been shown by the grandfather before. That's always kind of like violence and acting out has sort of always been the witch's nature, not the grandfather's. No, like that's never been what he does. And if they could, they would reach out to Nana and just like grab him and say, why would you do this?
Because to protect that which you love, sometimes a piece of yourself must go away.
In contrast, the Fatale was silent, shocked, as Nana did this. Similar to Chichi, the Fatale was not expecting this kind of violence from Nana. After all, he has always been so kind, so gentle, so compassionate. And we just talked about this. We have to play the role that we've been given. You can't act out like this.
We are more than just our womanhood, and you know it. We always have been. She always has been.
That might be what we wanted, but we are not allowed. This is not our place. No, your place, Nana.
We cannot fit into this role anymore.
Our place? This is a person.
He struck first.
Who will believe us?
It does not matter who will believe us or who won't. Not right now. Right now we protect that which is ours. Ourselves. We protect the person who we are. Ourself.
We have nothing. Everything we are, everything we have is his.
Chichi's
you know
right.
how weddings go.
And when we fall, will we silently let the next bride, the next GUDIYA, the next us, walk into this carnival of treachery and lies?
There won't be another us, because we will play the part right. None of the others played their part right. Don't you understand?
I pray that you're correct. But first, I am the Lady Bluebeard. This is my house. And you struck me first. So tell me, do you know who I am now?
Struggling against you, gurgling on his own blood. Yes. Please.
What have you allowed to happen in this place?
Being forced, demanded to speak as he's dying. And as he stutters through his words, we just leave them down here. We don't come back.
But then what happened to them?
He turns to the side and looks behind him in the empty prison cell. No. No.
Yes. Yes, my dear. I'm going to care for this horror as it slowly dies. He lied to you as he lied to me. He lied to you as he does to all. I'm sorry, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's my fault.
I would like to also care for this horror
Yeah.
in a different way.
There's a brief switch off in the ring. I won't make either of you roll because this is beautiful and the horror is already being swayed. How do you end his suffering?
Not with the glass, not with the violence that has already occurred, but I think that she gently holds his face, and the witch, with their magic, with their powers that they've been given from nature, they pull a man's last dying breath from him and allow him to pass gently into the beyond.
As he is let go from the both of you, as his body topples over, suddenly, a red confetti and doll pieces appear as his body hits the dungeon tiles. And the body pieces, these wooden blocks, these circles, spears rather, begin to roll towards the stairs, and as if being played in reverse, begin to bounce up each stair.
We can't act out like that again.
Are we real?
Yes. We are. I shakily get up from the ground, and GUDIYA takes a deep breath, not experiencing this kind of violence before. You must go on. You must go on, because this place, what he does to people like us, because we always do, we fail him. The guard knew, but couldn't admit it. Bluebeard takes us to the room that this key leads to. And if we are to try and stop this, or if we are to know for sure, this is all that awaits us. This key. Take care. As I say, my truth of the room. The key, the very same key, on our key ring, the one we've been holding on to this time, that is the token of my disloyalty. And I will mark my final and fifth trauma.
Grandfather. In a more violent form of the guard falling to the ground and turning into doll pieces disjointed, you shudder, fatale, in which you feel something separate from your mind, from your brain. The grounded, calloused hands, the figure of your grandfather, separates. Grandfather, do you become a horror? Obsessed with bettering himself for Bluebeard? Or become a horror that feeds on making future brides better?
The image of the grandfather, shattered from the rest of her sisters, restricts himself, the form of GUDIYA, but aged, halfway between one and the other, into the dress that he so hastily cut off of them. Resolved to take the pain, to continue to take the pain, by any means necessary. I become a horror. A A whore that seeks to better myself and only myself in service of Bluebeard.
What part of this dungeon room will your soul now reside in?
The empty cell. As the form of Nana GUDIYA stays in the corner, rocking herself in her bare feet, still covered with mehndi, back and forth and back and forth.
Patal and Witch, you have your final token of disloyalty. There is one bouncing ball of wood that remains at the staircase, as if waiting for you. You do not feel your grandfather anymore. What do the two of you do?
I would like to use my face move, the mistress,
Okay.
to mark a trauma and to take control of the ring.
Which you feel the Fatale take the ring off of your finger.
The trauma comes from severing completely this time a total and utter repression of any comfort, any compassion that may have resided within us, because that will not serve us here. It will not help us survive in this world. And so we have to cut it out. We have to leave it behind. And with that grief of leaving a part of ourself here, stuck, GUDIYA takes a deep breath, full inside their body, rolls their shoulders back once more, chin up, and says to Chichi, "We play our role, but we do it your way, too."
We play our role, but we see what's in that room.
You're right. You're right. We explore, like you said.
The wooden ball, the remaining body part of the guard that fell over, bounces up the stairs, leading you. And up above the stairs are the rest, the remaining body parts, the remaining joints, waiting and then beginning to roll towards a certain direction. A loose trail of confetti also aiding the way. Following, you are led to the highest floor of the manor and led to a central room with two gloriously velvet blue doors. The largest golden plaque with a title above the door, the Lord's Chambers. Now we say, with 3 of the burdensome tokens of disloyalty in your possession, and yet there is still this air of playing a role. You all very well know, the two of you rather, that you can very well take this evidence, take what you know, and leave. Present it to the outward town, whatever it may be, or run away and start anew. But do you look through the keyhole of this door, or do you enter it, despite your husband's letter?
We enter.
Okay.
In order to play this role correctly, we enter.
We enter.
Looking upon this great blue door, could I get the both of you to shiver from fear?
When the Fatale shivers from fear, looking at this door, this large door, this forbidden door, the thing that they are most afraid will happen is that they will learn that nothing that she has ever done, nothing that she is ever able to do is ever going to be enough. That there is no role for her, really. None that will give her a choice, none that will allow her to be who they want to be, that will allow them to live a life that's worth living, really. Like, a life for herself, for the people that they love, really and truly, as opposed to being a puppet, a doll, controlled by other people. Powerlessness, helplessness.
Before you choose two options, I want to hear the witch.
The witch has spent their entire existence telling of the dangers of the situations that they've been in, the dangers of falling for men and allowing yourself to be quote-unquote submissive for them, as is dictated by the society that they live in. The thing the witch fears the most right now is that they will be correct in this moment.
Fatale and witch. That is worse than you fear. The room will speak to you. As soon as you open the door, a flash of light, and suddenly, in a dream-like plane of existence, you are in your wedding gown, and it is in your wedding day. It is part of the festivities where people are dancing, people are talking, eating, and you don't remember everything that happened that night. You could barely recall certain details, but somehow there are things that are clearer than they were in this moment of thoughtfulness. And you hear Bluebeard. Fatale, you in particular, you hear Bluebeard is speaking to perhaps one of your other male relatives or so. And he's talking and he's speaking and they're laughing. And then your relative talks about his own wife as if she were nothing special. Something to wear almost, have on his arm. And Bluebeard laughs, tells him that, oh, maybe if you give her some other gifts, a couple other things, and maybe she will have some use to you. Maybe it'll just be worth having the nice decoration. Fatale, what is Bluebeard saying about you when he disparages that woman with that relative?
That we are of no use to him. That we are disposable. Something that, and really truly something, that he can throw away whenever he chooses. Not a person, not someone to love, not someone to hold. Just a thing to look at until he's bored.
Which, and you turn to the other side, and Bluebeard is somehow, from one conversation to the next, speaking to some female relatives. They fuss and worry over you and how boyish and messy you are and how your future was never that clear to them. And now they're seeing a future as vast and wide as the ocean. And he laughs and agrees with them and caresses their shoulder for longer than perhaps necessary. Looks down at them. Oh well. Leave it to me. I can provide her all the future that she will ever need and will ever want. Which, what is Bluebeard saying about you when he describes your future?
The future he describes isn't one based in any reality that we've experienced. It is one in the towers and walls of his manor, one bound by that. And what he is saying is that our past, our experiences, our skills that we've developed in the world outside his walls never were important to him. The gifts we gave that were made with our own hands from the tree that we tended to, they were worth nothing.
Suddenly, you're dancing. Your nose buried into his lapel, the ruffled shirt. And as he doesn't know the dances that are customary, that are usual, he just holds you with his big, strong arms. But grandfather, why does Bluebeard, although the many interactions you've had with him up until now, why does he not smell like home?
Because he smells bland. He hides behind cologne and fancy perfume, piles and piles of it, but beneath is the blandness that betrays his true nature. At the end of the day, he does this because he feels insignificant, because he knows that he lacks substance.
Although you weren't able to remember it before, you weren't able to unclasp your hands, weren't able to keep your feet untucked. Finally, you look down at them as he lets go of you after the dance is over. Your mehendi, the designs, are of string, marionette holders, false eyes, small, and you can swear in this memory. Your warm tones, the brightness in your skin beginning to pale as if your blood was running dry. Back within the horrors of the Bluebeard's manor, with the fresh memory of your wedding, the bits and pieces of it that you could see, you open the door to Bluebeard's room. And there, in the middle of his chambers, what seems to be some sort of studio, some workshop, wood carving, porcelain, you lay in his bed, but not you. A fragment of you, a figment of his own imagination. You realize it to be your lips, your nose, and your hair. Some of the texture, honestly staggering, but you can see the things that everyone back home wished were different about you. Your large mouth smaller, your hair kempt, your nose less crooked. A doll sits in the center of his chambers, a hollow vessel for something, for someone, for you. When Bluebeard eventually comes back home, you play the role up until what? Fatale, in which you have your disloyalty tokens, you have the outcome you desire. Of the two, which is your decision on that final day?
We will play the role. For now. we will know our place for now. Until Chitty?
Until a day comes where he goes far away, and on that day all our work, all our planning will come into fruition. We will throw aside the role given to us, the role placed upon us, and we will run as far away as our feet can take us.
Going around all of the facets, I will start with the fatale. How does Bluebeard make the bride's family pay for her disloyalty?
If we could not play our part forever, he will make sure that no one else in our family can either. The punishment for our family is ruining any chance that any of our siblings, especially our female siblings, have at a future.
Which, does anyone else ever convince the bride to marry ever again?
Yes. A young man we meet along our journey. He helps us, guides us, and we don't stay there long. But in those tender moments by his side, we are convinced that maybe out there in the world, there may be someone who could show us the love we need to marry again.
Grandfather, although you are at this point a memory not so distant, but not close, why did the bride keep the tokens that they discovered, the only thing remaining being that glass shard?
Because it reminds her. It reminds them that there is a possibility to fight back. Maybe futilely, maybe hopelessly, but with compassion. Strength is also needed. The strength to fight.
Fatale, what memory of Bluebeard's house gives the bride pleasure when it shouldn't?
The memory of those peacocks. The way that they were so unbridled. Grounded, sure, flightless birds, but still free in their own way. And for a moment, at the time, she felt like she could be like that too. Like it was right there, right for the taking. And that feeling, it's a hard one to forget.
Which, does Bluebeard ever find you?
He does. Maybe not as soon as he would have liked to. It's strange. He looks just like he did the day we married him. But us? He was too late. We had become the vision that we had of Nana. Older, much older. He comes to take us back to his manor on our deathbed.
Hi everyone, I have been Josephine, your groundskeeper for today. You can find me at Scary Dog Friend on most platforms, and you can find a lot of my work now at Bad House RPG.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer now. Yay! You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I'm a part of. I'm on a variety of different APs, so Twitter is the best place to know where I am at any given point in time. And with that, I will pass it over to RK.
Hi, I'm RK Wild. I use they, them pronouns, and you can find me all over the internet at Russ Wildest. I am a TTRPG content creator. I am a professional GM. I do a ton of different stuff in this space. So yeah, best place to find me is on Twitter at Russ Wildest. And I'll throw it to Norden Ali.
Hi, I am Nordine Likadir. My pronouns are he, him, and you can find me all over the interwebs at Werewolf Feels, wherever werewolves can be found. I do a variety of things, from writing to performing to consulting, and a lot of them are hidden behind NDAs and good faith agreements. So, if you want to stay up to date, follow me there.
Thank you all so much for watching our show. This has been GUDIYA, our one-shot of Bluebeard's Bride, sponsored by Roll. We appreciate you all so much for joining us and for chatting in chat and for all of the tips that you have given to us as a cast. And we hope that you will join us in the future for other projects that we might be putting out. Keep an eye on the Nameless domain. There is a lot of cool shows and content that is going to be coming out of this channel specifically. So follow if you haven't already, and keep an eye out for other stuff. And we'll see you next time. Bye!